Good morning, grade 5. How are you doing? This is Miss Susan. Today's topic is about understanding volume, lesson 11.6. And our essential question is,
how can you use unit cubes to find the volume of a rectangular prism?
do you remember area? We used area to measure the space inside any 2D shapes or any plane shapes. We used to measure area by counting how many square units inside any 2D shapes. However, today's topic, we're gonna measure the volume of 3D shapes. So 3D shapes, we measure it by volumes, and 2D shapes, we measure it by area. 3D shapes like rectangular prism, we measure its volume, measure the capacity of a space that the rectangular prism can occupy. And we measure the volume by counting how many unit cubes inside any rectangular prism. So the area, we used to measure it by squares. However, the volume, we measure it by cubes. How many unit cubes inside the volume? And why we measure the volume? To measure the capacity of any 3D shapes. So let's start and see how can we measure the volume of any rectangular prism.
Let's find the volume of rectangular prisms. Volume is equal to the amount of space a solid figure occupies and is measured in cubic units. Find the volume of two rectangular prisms by counting unit cubes. Each unit cube is equal to 1 cubic unit. We can add the total number of unit cubes within this first prism to find the volume.
So first, how we measure the volume? By counting how many unit cubes or cubic units. So the first layer here consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 cubes.
There are a total of 10 unit cubes. If each cube has a volume of 1 cubic unit, what's the volume of the rectangular prism? The prism has a volume of 10 cubic units. Let's move on to a second prism. We can also discover the volume of any three-dimensional figure by finding its length, width, and height. To find the volume, start by finding the length and width of the base. Each unit cube has a length, width, and height of 1 centimeter. The length of the base is 3 centimeters. The width of the base is also 3 centimeters. To find out how many unit cubes are in the base, multiply the length by the width. How many centimeter cubes are used to fill the base?
Okay, so first, to measure the volume of any rectangular prism, you have to know how many cubes in each layer, then multiply it by how many layers in all. However, to find the how many cubes in each layer, you have to know how many rows of cubes by how many the number in each row. Here you have 3 cubes. Each cube consists of 1 centimeter. This means they are in all 3 centimeters. And how many squares or how many cubes in each row? There are 3 in each row. Each one consists of 1 centimeter. This means you have in all 3 centimeters. So in the layer you have 3 cubes, 3 cubes in the row multiplied by 3 in each row. So multiply 3 times 3 will give you 9 cubes in each layer. Let's count and check if it's right or wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's right. So you have 9 cubes in each layer. Then you should multiply it by how many layers in all that you have. First, the first number here is how many cubes in each layer. It will be 3 multiplied by 3, mean the length multiplied by the width, or the number in rows multiplied by the number in each row. So in any cases you have to multiply the two dimensions together to find how many cubes inside the one layer.
9 centimeter cubes fill the base of the prism. How many layers are in the prism?
Let's see how many layers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. So they are 5.
There are 5 layers in the prism. That means the prism has a height of 5 centimeters. If there are 9 cubes in each layer, and the prism consists of 5 layers, how many centimeter cubes fill the prism?
So let's multiply 9 in the layer, multiplied by how many layers? Multiplied by 5, that will give you 45.
Think, 5 layers times 9 cubes in each layer equal how many cubes? 5 times 9 equals 45. So 45 centimeter cubes fill the prism. The volume of the rectangular prism is equal to 45 cubic centimeters.
Okay, in other words, you have the volume that measures any 3D shapes, or measure the capacity of any 3D shapes. What are 3D shapes? That the shape that you can describe it by 3 dimensions. What are the 3 dimensions? The length, the width, and the height. And if you multiply the 3 numbers together, you will find the volume of any 3D shapes or any rectangular prism. So any rectangular prism is a 3D shape that can be described by 3 dimensions, which is the length, the width, and the height. And that's what we did to find the volume. We multiplied the 3 numbers together. First, we multiplied the length with the width to find how many cubes in the layer. Then we multiply it by the height to find the volume of the 3D rectangular prism, the volume of it. I hope that you understood. Let's move to another example.
Volume is measured in cubic units, such as cubic centimeters, cubic inches, or cubic feet. The volume of each cube is related to the size of the unit of measurement. Which has a greater volume, 1 cubic inch or 1 cubic foot?
Okay, so if you can see by your eyes, the foot is bigger than the inch, and the cube, which is its unit is 1 foot, it's bigger than the cube that its unit is 1 inch. So, of course, this one is bigger than this one.
Feet are greater than inches, so 1 cubic foot would have a greater volume. Compare the volume of the prism in cubic centimeters, cubic inches, and cubic feet. Remember, for a 3-dimensional figure, volume can be determined by multiplying length, width, and height. What's the volume of the prism in cubic centimeters? Find the product of 5, 4, and 2.
Okay, 5 times 4 will be 20. 20 multiplied by 2 will be 40. So if you multiply the 3 dimensions together, it will give you the volume. And the volume here will be 40. 40 centimeter, or 40 inches, or 40 feet, or 40 any cubic unit.
The prism has a volume of 40 cubic centimeters. The numerical value for the volume of the prism in cubic inches and in cubic feet is also 40. Although each unit may contain the same number of unit cubes, the volume of the prism depends on the size of the cubic unit. Would a volume of 40 cubic feet be greater than, less than, or equal to a volume of 40 cubic inches?
So according to the unit that you are using, you can change or exchange it by cubic, and exchange that unit by the centimeter or meter or inches or feet or whatever unit you want to use. However, here it's the same volume, 40 here, 40 here, cubic here, but the difference here is the unit that I use. Which one is bigger, feet or inches? Of course, feet is bigger than inches.
A volume of 40 cubic feet is greater than a volume of 40 cubic inches. Find the length, width, and height of the prism and determine its volume.
Okay.
Find the length, width, and height of the prism. Type the answers and then click Check.
Okay, this is a rectangular prism. It's a 3D shape, meaning it has 3 dimensions. And to find its volume, you have to multiply them together. First, how many cubes in the length? 1, 2, 3. So it is 3. The width. How many cubes in the width? 1, 2, 3, 4 units. 4 units. How many units or how many cubes in the height? It's 2. So it will be 2. Okay, let's check.
That's right. The length is 3 centimeters, the width is 4 centimeters, and the height is 2 centimeters.
And the unit here is centimeter. What is the volume now?
Now, select the correct volume.
And the volume units here will be cubic centimeter. So let's multiply. 3 times 4 will give me 12. 12 multiplied by 2 will give me 24.
That's right. The volume is 24 cubic centimeters. Find and compare the volume of each prism. These two prisms have the same length, width, and height, which means they have the same volume. Select the volume that represents both prisms.
Okay, it's the same volume. Multiply the length with the width to find how many cubes in the layer. It will be 4 times 4, 16. Then multiply by 2. So it will be 32. Or the opposite, you can multiply 2 times 4. You can swap it. It will be 8. 8 times 4 will give me 32. Use timetable 4 or timetable 8, whatever. So it will be, the volume will be 32 cubic units.
That's right. The volume of each prism is 32 cubic units. One prism has a volume measured in cubic feet. The other prism has a volume measured in cubic inches. How do the volumes of the prisms compare? Select greater than, less than, or equal to.
Okay, so in this way, I have the same number of volume. I have cubic the same. So let's compare the units that I use here. I substitute the word units by feet, and here I substitute the word units by inches. Which one is bigger, feet or inches? Of course, feet is bigger than inches.
That's right. 32 cubic feet is greater than 32 cubic inches. Now try your homework on your own with the personal math trainer. It includes the exercise you saw at the beginning of the lesson.
Thank you grade 5 for watching. Hope that you understood what is the volume is. See you the next lesson. Bye bye.
Thanks for helping me figure out the total volume of the fruit that was delivered for the picnic. Hope to see you there.